Hey Gunslingers, welcome back to your next Chiefs Corner. I have a very, very special guest today. Very excited to share this time and opportunity to connect with you today with my battle buddy, my teammate, Tech Sergeant Nathan Hawkins, who has served incredibly awesomely, if that's a word, incredibly awesomely, well in this last year that I got a chance to serve with him. He was the executive assistant to the command chief, 1 Bravo 4 by trade. Had a great time getting to know you and certainly serving with you. We got a lot of things accomplished. So before I talk to you a little bit and understand a little bit about this last year, what it's been like for you, I'd love to hear more about who you are, sharing with our gunslingers who tune in from near and far. Start off, tell us about who you are and who Nathan Hawkins is.
Awesome. Yep. So I'm Tech Sergeant Nathan Hawkins. I hail from Germany and then moved to Georgia. And then longer story short, I joined the Air Force as a Russian linguist. And then 6 years in, I decided to change my career field to 1 Bravo 4, as Chief mentioned. And since then, it's been kind of a wild ride. This last year being an extremely wild ride, but it's been a fun one.
Yes.
And yeah, it's been a good time. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So you came into the Air Force, a number of years back. But
Yes.
What's your why? Like we all come into the Air Force for different reasons, but I'm curious to understand yours. Like why did Nathan Hawkins join the Air Force?
So honestly, it's actually kind of dynamic. It changed over the years. So initially, I was in college in Georgia, and I told myself, I was like, well, you know what? I really do want to finish college, but I just want something different. I want to shake it up a little bit. So initially, I went to a couple other recruiters, Marine Corps first, then the Army, because that's kind of what my family did. And then finally, I landed with the Air Force, and I said, well, they're letting me do exactly the job that I would like to do. And I just said, all right, let's do it. And so I took the D-Lab for the language, and I hopped in, jumped in kind of head first and said, let's just do it. So I went through all the schooling, and then over time it kind of developed more into, you know what, I really love what I do. And that's initially, wasn't going to re-enlist, was going to do 6 and then get out, kind of like your story with the 27 years later, 4 years in. And so I just kind of kept going and kind of felt more of a purpose serving in the military and contributing to something that's larger than myself. I know that's often a cliche, but it was more of a development thing. It wasn't initially like, oh, I'm going to do it for school or I'm going to do it for money or something like that. It was just kind of like, I want to do something different and, kind of follow in the footsteps of my family. So,
yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Being just in the profession of arms, there's nothing else like what we do.
Right.
There's this brotherhood, this sisterhood that we have. The camaraderie that we experience. I'd argue we're never going to find it anywhere else.
Right.
I know that's why I continue to serve after all these years. But
Exactly.
Is it the same for you? Do you?
Yep.
Yeah.
So my big thing is I've made so many friends throughout the years, and I've met so many different people outside of the career field, in the career field, and we've stayed connected. And my best friend is stationed in England, and he's coming into town here soon, and we're going to travel around a little bit. So it's really cool to kind of, you have all these different walks of life coming together into your team or your flight or wherever, and everybody's different, but in a sense we're all the same, and it's kind of cool to have everybody's different perspectives from where they came from, and helps break down barriers and helps kind of just build a team. Yeah. And I like that.
No, I do too. And speaking of team, you and I have been teammates, working together for the last year. And I shared this at your going away that we had a chance to celebrate you. As a command chief, you're in the business of advising the wing commander, advising our bosses, decision making. He's the one that makes all the decisions, but command chiefs get a chance to make one decision that's pretty critical to the entire wing, and that's the teammate that we select to be the executive assistant. So I would say hands down the best possible decision I could have made was bringing you to the team. 100% team effort. There's no command chief in the Air Force that does what they're able to achieve alone. It's a team effort, and we got a lot of things accomplished together.
So.
There's a long list of all the things that Tech Sergeant Hawkins was leading from the front with. A lot of times across the wing, not everybody gets a chance to see that, but so many great things we're knocking out right now. Whether it's Gunslinger University. We started a Junior Enlisted Command Chief of the Day program. It's been a phenomenal success bringing that junior enlisted perspective up to the wing, and to be able to get that feedback directly to the senior leaders in the wing, and then meanwhile they get a sense of what that operational and strategic leadership levels like. We did an in-person, face-to-face boards that was all led by you. It was a heavy lift, but you did the most heavy part of that lifting. The whole warrant officer application process, holy moly, Secretary Kendall, gave us the direction to, implement warrant officers, and we had a pretty fast timeline, and that included the application process, and you quickly made yourself learn everything about that process. You became an expert in it. You refined every single package that this wing submitted, and then your expertise, that sort of reputation of you being good at everything you do got known, and there's other wings, there's other people across the Air Force that were quickly reaching out to us, getting your advice. And after it's all said and done, I think the Air Force selected about 64 active duty warrant officers, and you had your hands on half of those across the entire Air Force. So a huge milestone, and all the many things that we've done. Most recently in the wing, we started the wing monthly retreat ceremony. It's funny because a lot of times these just start as ideas that we have, and we kind of refine them together, and then we start to build the team across the wing, and you are the critical component in that, and understanding who the right leaders are. We kind of think of strengths-based leadership. Who are the right leaders across the wing that we can present these opportunities to, and it's all about executing the mission, supporting our commanders, priorities, and making sure that the 67 Cyberspace Wing and the gunslingers all across it are super successful. Right. So thanks for all the hard work and all you do. But I got to ask, I'm curious why you volunteered to be a Command Chief Executive Assistant. Because before all this, greatness happened, I would say, something happened where you saw an advertisement and you made a choice to volunteer. But what way is that?
Well, so I it was a little bit of something different. So I started as a linguist, and then I went 1 Bravo, and worked on a team a lot, and I was very much at the tactical level for my whole career. And I thought to myself, well, and thanks to my supervisor as well, because he kind of was like, hey, there's this opportunity. And I read through it, and I was like, well, that's interesting. And then after thinking about it a little bit more, because initially I was like, I don't know. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I've been tactical my whole career. And now that I had re-upped and decided to stay in before I came to Texas, I thought to myself, well, this is probably a great way to get a little bit more of a strategic IQ. What does the wing do as a whole? Where do I fit in? Even if it's just for a year, I can kind of discover all the different opportunities that the wing has to offer, and where I fit in, where other people fit in that I've worked with, and hopefully I have the ability to bring that back down to units, and kind of just lead with that kind of perspective, instead of just being the tactical leader. I also have a little bit, albeit it's a shallow understanding, but an understanding of the strategic picture of what the wing is trying to accomplish in the mission, and where it's plugged in with all the different organizations. And I think this year has really showed me that from a strategic level. So hopefully I can bring that back.
Absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely crushed it. We don't recruit great Americans to immediately join and be Command Chief Executive Assistants, but thankfully we have a system, whether it's on the enlisted side or on the officer side, where we can find this very high performing talent across the Air Force, and invest in them. And I appreciate your perspective of looking at this last year as an investment in you, because it really is, and you're going to pour that back tenfold back into the 91st cause as you go back. But here soon, you're going to head to Maxwell, and you're going to start your officer training school, which is going to be incredible. Selected to be an officer in our United States Air Force is huge. It says, tons of, accolades about who you are and the type of character and caliber of a professional you are. But, for me personally, I can't wait to be at your graduation. I'm going to be, I think it's going to be a long line of people that can't wait to salute you, but I definitely can't wait to be in that line and present you with the salute, because you're going to be an incredible officer.
Thanks, sir.
And I would work for you any day, anytime, anywhere.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Gunslingers, thanks for tuning in today to today's Chief's Corner. It's been a pleasure serving with Tech Sergeant Nathan Hawkins, who's about to go off and become a second lieutenant in our Air Force, and he's going to continue to do great things. So across the Gunslinger Nation, just know we're proud of you. We're excited to serve with you. And as always, light them up.
Light 'em up.